Hey y'all, it's your girl Kiwi Love You Kings, and I'm back with a new video. So this segment of my YouTube channel, I want to call it shadow work, and basically it's with the concept of mirror work being involved, and just really trying to find a way to talk to yourself, and like this whole idea of self manifestation is like it's more of a personal type of vibe. And so like I have my camera, like it's angled towards my mirror, but like I'm supposed to be in the frame, so it's just giving that type of aesthetic. And I think that this is really important because when we talk about like relationships and just how we can grow individually, we always include our external forces, but like this whole idea of it being within you, and you manifesting these things towards yourself as a different type of spill. And I think that was like really my main approach with this. So I'm just hoping that y'all get it. I know y'all probably like, why she got her camera down like that? I just wanted to get that vibe. I'm in a very creative space right now. Just considering the amount of time, I didn't think I was gonna be able to do it this semester, but I was lucky enough to do that. And before I say anything else in this video, I really want to thank one of my good friends, Malik. Thank you so much for giving me this mic. I know you were wondering when I was gonna use it, but I just gotta let you know, like, I'm using it now. I'm still trying to get the sound stuff under control, as you already know. But yes, I am very grateful for you giving me this this piece of equipment, and I'm hoping that I can use it for good purposes and just nothing but positive vibes. So yes, I'm truly thankful for that. Thank you. thank you. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah. So this video that I am going to be sharing with you guys, it's mostly going to be focusing on relationships. And the biggest relationships that affect us are the ones that are our start, and those relationships are basically with our parents. So this video is really more so about like mommy and daddy issues. And I really didn't want to title it that, but I really think that is like, to understand where you are right now and where you're going, you have to understand where you came from. And so like this is just more so like on more of a personal level. So this idea of like mommy and daddy issues, and you really just have to like understand, like for me, I don't want to say I'm a spiritual person, but I think that everything happens for a reason. And the things that we do with our lives, the things that we planned on doing with our lives before we even got here, I think that all of those things were chosen before we opened our eyes and took our first breath. And so like what I'm getting at with this is that like I believe that we choose our parents before we get here. And that is like a weird thing of its own. I know that some people have really experienced traumatic type of experiences with their family and just the people that are around them, the closest people to them. And I'm a victim of some of those things. Well, I wouldn't say I'm a victim, I am a survivor of those things. And so I completely understand and sympathize with any person that has had similar experiences and is probably looking at me like, what is she talking about? So this idea of you choosing your parents before you come here, you choosing your fate before you come here on earth, I think this is more of an idea of reincarnation. And so like in a past life, you might have made a mistake and you probably didn't know what you were doing in that life. And then, when you start over, you are reminded that you are a spiritual being, and you are also reminded that, everything that you've endured in a previous life is supposed to prepare you for a new life, and just a way to end the cycles that you have endured previously. So this idea of this life plan being negotiated before you set foot on earth takes place. And when you get here, of course, you're probably not aware of it. You probably are aware of it depending on the type of person that you are, and just really how free you are mentally. I think that plays a huge role in it. And so sometimes we are products of failed relationships, and we have to understand that that's not on us. failed relationship between two adults or two young adults is not on the child. And we have to understand that mom and dad are like yin and yang, and we might not be like our parents, or we might be exactly like our parents, or we might be like our parents. We don't know we like our parents, but they are yin and yang, man and woman. And so we can't allow that emotion to keep us from fulfilling our purpose if there is a failed relationship. Now, if you are not a product of a failed relationship, I am very happy for you. And I hope that you've learned something from not being in a failed relationship, and that you are mature enough to have mature relationships of your own. And if you decide to have a family, that you're able to equip your children with the proper nutrients and the proper love and guidance that is needed to raise a young person, a young individual. So, the first thing that I really want to mention is, because we're talking about yin and yang here, I think women should go first. And because I am a woman, I can kind of speak from this, from my own experiences. So, like, when we talk about mama issues, it's prevalent, and it's not just, with our young women, it's with our young men too. But I can only speak from a female's perspective, and what I can say is that, the way that you view your mother is the way that you kind of view yourself in so many ways, even if you don't like the things that you see in your parents. And so with moms and their young daughters, there is this tough love type of relationship. Say you were raised by a very strong-minded woman, and maybe she experienced some traumatic things coming up, and she didn't get a lot of love. And when she gives out her love, she gives it out real tough, and, this idea, I believe, just from my own experience, like, I think that this is like one of those situations where we express our emotions. Black women, we express our emotions based off of our experiences. And so it's like a cycle type of thing. And so if your mom struggled, her mother struggled, her mother's mother struggled, they all have their own ways of processing things, and they kind of have their ways of teaching their children lessons that they've already experienced. And these lessons might have been lessons that resulted in failure. And so, like, because they went through that, they don't want you to go through that. And so you might end up in that cycle where, you and your parents might be in completely different spaces in your life at the same exact age. So for instance, like when you were 18, say your mother when she was 18, or your grandmother when she was 18, they were parents and they had to figure out how to raise another individual. So that was their responsibility, versus you, who might be 18 and you don't have any children, and you might be, trying to finish school or start, a career, and so that idea of you guys being in completely different spaces at the same age, it makes things very hard for you to connect because of your experiences and just the way that your mind has evolved based off of the experience that you're in. And so this idea of, parents being in the same place that their children are at the same age is not necessarily a result of you disconnecting from your parents, but it's just more so of maybe your parents raised you in a certain type of way so that you wouldn't fail and make the same mistakes that they did when they were your age. And so we struggle with that acceptance when we become adults because of the trauma that we probably endured when we were kids. And so this idea of like, you wanting to break away from your family and having a sense of yourself and having your peace of mind, and maybe you experience this idea of invasion of privacy, or this idea of being overprotective, like, of your privacy. Like, this is one of those things that trickled down from a source, and when it's here, it hits home, because I think, like, my generation, like, and even the generation that's before mine, I think that we are aware of the spiritual warfare that we are experiencing and that we have always experienced, but we are more aware of it now, where it's like your mental capacity is just very, 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 very important. You have to be able to understand who you are and the reason why you are the way that you are. And if you don't like some things about yourself, you have to become aware of changing those things. And so this idea of being protective and kind of taking yourself away from your family, because of that, that idea of like wanting to, preserve your privacy, and being misunderstood because of you are trying to, preserve your privacy, is one of those things that has to be connected, and that has to be respected in the relationships that you're in with other people. And so with that being said, this kind of reverts me into the whole idea of, daddy issues. So that brings us on the yang aspect of the conversation. And so when we talk about daddy issues, what do we think of? We think of, absent fathers who are there but are not there at the same time. So maybe there's a co-parenting type of relationship with the mother. And then there's also this idea of the bonus dad. So we're talking like dad-like figures, your uncle, your grandfather, your big cousin, like your big brother, that father-like figure. And so when we think of daddy issues, the biggest thing that comes to mind is the lack of presence. And when you think about the lack of presence, that equals lack of protection, lack of security within oneself. And the reason why I say this is because, the father figure, in my opinion, is more so supposed to be the authority in the household. Mom, she kinds of hold things together, and dad helps support that. And so with doing that, there is this idea of the authoritative humanitarian figure. Siri, really? Okay, anyways. So with the dad being authoritative, that is the idea of the leader of the household. And not saying that mom can't be the leader, but you would like for dad to be the leader, because when you see dad being the leader, he's seeing and thinking through challenges and situations. He's showing you how to be your own person, how to have your own individualism, how to be secure within yourself, because you're the person that's going to be making decisions about yourself one day, or your house one day, or your situation one day. And so this idea for a woman would be more so you learning how to think on your own and working through principles in ways that makes your life easier. Not necessarily saying that you're going to be the one that always make your life easy, but you're able to think through those things. So that's the idea of that masculine thinking type of energy. And so when we come to these these standstills with mom and dad issues, these relationships show us how to treat people, and they show us how we want to be treated, and how we will treat ourselves, and how we would treat our partners, our children, whoever is in our arm's length reach. And so I think it's very important to have these type of acknowledgments, if you were blessed or if you weren't blessed with this, to know that despite you having a specific type of relationship with your parent, good or bad, negative or positive, toxic or non-toxic or healthy, you have to find yourself to forgive your parents for whatever it might be, and understand that just like we are right now, they were trying. They were trying just like you are right now, and it doesn't make it an excuse if they did not do the greatest of the job of raising you, but you do have to learn how to forgive. And when you forgive, you're able to be a better individual, you're able to be a better mother, father, whoever you have to be for the next generation that's coming up behind you. And so getting over these challenges and these things that prevent you from being able to have that self-reflection and that self-growth, it will make you a stronger person, a stronger individual. And, I know everything cannot be forgotten. There are things that I can't forgive myself, but I know that, you have to understand that you are of their flesh, you know what I'm saying? But you belong to God. You know what I'm saying? You come from your mom and your dad, but yes, you belong to God. And so this idea of your parents seeing themselves in you, or you seeing yourself in your child, that is where that cycle has to stop, because you're your own individual. You are within your own purpose, and you chose to come back and choose the parents that you have now because there was a reason, there was a purpose behind that. There was a message behind that you have to be able to deliver when it's the right time, And so when you decide to have kids, I would hope that, even though your child might have the exact same face that you do, the same face, the same tendencies, the same features that you might, I hope that you do not see yourself in your child, but your child is maybe able to see some of the things that they understand, the things that come with them from you. They're able to see that with you, and so they get to choose who they want to be when they leave this place. If they want to be just like you, or if they want to be something completely different, but we have to use these experiences as lessons, and not as ways to keep us broken. What I'm saying? Like, it's so deep. And I really wanted to keep this conversation short about the whole mom and dad thing, because everybody don't got mommy and daddy issues. Some people, they have really strong relationships with their parents. And if you do, if they are there, I promise you, I just want to say, love them while they are here. And, I know so many people who have lost their parents, and they wish that they could be there for them during these moments where they are in dark spaces, or when they're trying to self-reflect, or when they're trying to grow, because when they're not there, you're forced to. And being in that type of situation, like, it can really make or break you. I can only speak from what I know, and I've never lost my parents. Both of my parents are still living, and I have great figures that have shown me different things that have helped me develop to be the woman that I am, and hopefully encourage me to be the woman that I want to be tomorrow. So with all of that being said, this self-reflection, this mirror work, this shadow work that we're doing right now is just more so for you to be able to just grow and prosper, and to truly see yourself in the light that you want to see yourself. But sometimes you have to look back, and looking back is usually like just understanding connection, or the communion between the two energies that created you, your yin and your yang, your mother and your father, your man and your woman, whoever created you. And if you are an adopted person and you don't have that, and maybe you have your figures, I want to say that whoever was the person that brought you up and taught you how to be a person, I want you to applaud them and understand that it's very hard to raise a child. And if they didn't do the greatest job, I could understand why, a person might want to be very limited about how much they applaud the person. But just to know that you're here, and hopefully that is something that can encourage you to do something different. And if you don't have that background of where you came from, you choose your own story. And when you choose your own story, you write every single character, chapter, whatever, because that is what you have to do. But if you decide to have a family of your own, I hope that they are able to understand those foundations, and knowing your beginnings, and just really having a true respect and acknowledgement of where you are, where you came from. So that's really all I had to say, y'all. I hope that this wasn't a very long message, but I really wanted to make sure that I said the things that were really important to me, and this has been on my heart pretty heavy. I wrote about this a few months ago, and it's in June of this year, and I'm just now making a video about it, because I really just wanted to be in a space where I could actually speak from here, and really say what I felt needed to be said. So yeah, y'all. I see.